All right, so this is my outline of my narrative speech. Oh, I said narrative. Outline of my persuasive speech on why people should not try and own exotic animals as pets. It's a very bad idea to try and own any exotic animals as pets. As normal pets such as cats and dogs. You might be one of those after watching those shows so much think that keeping such animals is not only a good idea, but it might be an exciting thing for you to do and you could potentially make money off that. Well, let me go ahead and tell you why in this speech that is such a bad idea and why you should think about getting any exotic animals as pets. Wild animals are wild animals and eventually they'll turn on you. Whether it's been chimpanzees, tigers, leopards, bears, snakes, etc. There have been documented cases, on the news, on YouTube, on other TV shows such as, Animal Planet's Fatal Attractions, documented cases and instances of people keeping, those type of animals as pets, and then sometime later down the line, they get attacked by those animals. As a result of those attacks, people often suffer very severe injuries or they end up being fatally wounded by those same animals that they kept as pets. No matter how long you keep an exotic animal as a pet and quote unquote trying to tame it, it's still a wild animal. Still a wild animal that's unpredictable and has a mind of its own. Doesn't take much for it to snap one day. The website bornfreeusa.org has a database that's 2,000 pages long that documented has documentation of a bunch of attacks on humans by exotic animals that were kept as pets. From the website Chrome.com, it said that as of the time July, it highlighted as of the time of July 14, 2022, Texas was number 3 in the country when it came to exotic animal fatalities. The number one ranked state was Florida, which really isn't surprising if you think about it with all the crazy stuff that goes on here in this state of Florida. Reason number two, people go overboard and commit the crime of, animal trafficking. When people traffic animals, they are subjecting the animal to poor abuse and poor treatment by constantly moving it place to place. Sometimes before being even trafficked and sold to another place to be moved, those animals are sometimes bred. Ever heard of the liger or the tigon? Those animals have come about because of trafficking and breeding. Oftentimes, when that happens, it messes with the genes of the subspecies and causes them to get sick, die, causes the overall number of species of animals, such as the lion and tiger, to decrease. When animals get trafficked or inbred, they're sometimes killed by unsatisfied buyers and animals, buyers and owners of those animals. And the third reason why you shouldn't try and keep an exotic animal as a pet, it's because it's really hard to keep and take care of those animals that you're keeping as pets. They're hard to keep and take care of. For starters, you have to make sure that they don't escape your house or wherever else you're keeping them and go off wandering around the street or neighborhood. Some attacks of humans have happened because animals wandering off in the street and causing havoc and going on a rampage. And once those animals go on a rampage, you're the one that's supposed to be responsible for them. And you can get charged as a result. Also, you have to constantly figure out what to feed them and how you're going to feed them. Carnivores such as lions, tigers, leopards, they eat a huge amount of meat a day. With the high prices of food all across the country, you have to figure out how to buy enough food to feed them constantly as much as you can. Because if they're not fed, they'll either starve to death or get really angry and start to look at you as food, which is not a good thing. Animals go to the bathroom whenever they want to, and they have all kinds of diseases that they can get infected with and die from. Some of those diseases can infect you, the pet owner, quote unquote, as well. Some of those are unknown, so if you're keeping them as pets, you really wouldn't have too much understanding of that. Last but not least, how the heck are you gonna try and tame a wild animal? Still a wild animal. Overall, it's not a good idea to try and get an exotic animal as a pet. You should know better than to try and have an animal such as a tiger, lion, leopard, bear, chimpanzee at your house as a pet. It almost never ends well with people who keep exotic animals as pets. Either the owner gets hurt, or the animal's not able to cope living in captivity and dies up quickly, or crazy stuff happens. Some other crazy stuff happens. You're better off literally doing anything else than that. I hope that with this piece I just presented that I'm able to persuade everybody else out there and convince them not to try and keep any exotic wild animals as a pet. Cool. That was bad. It ended